We came to Lafourche, Louisiana in 2009 at the blessing of the fleet to talk with communities about the growing dead zone in the Gulf of Mexico. Sitting on the veranda with lifelong shrimp fishermen Scott and Pappy, they had one plea for America.
Yeah.
Stop the pollution in the water.
Stop the pollution in the water. That would be it.
U.S. officials sharply boosted estimates of how much oil is pouring into the Gulf of Mexico.
Where Deepwater Horizon has already ensured a major marine catastrophe.
Already, this oil spill is the worst environmental disaster America has ever faced.
Hello, Alexandra. Welcome aboard.
How are you?
Good. Welcome aboard.
It's good to see
Good
you.
to see you. Would you like to know?
I met Scott again on his boat, heading out to take part in the cleanup of one of the largest oil spills in history. 4.5 months after the disaster, the implications for Scott are still far from clear.
It's life-changing, you know. I have a big investment right here, and you got to start over. And again, I'm 46 years old. I mean, it's like this. We don't know the future. We don't know what holds the future.
Do y'all have any technology to get that oil out of 12 and 20,000 foot of water?
I'm trying to say, how you going to deal with that? He didn't have an income last year because he was building a boat to get ready for this year, but he wasn't able to throw.
It's a confusion that people's getting the wrong information.
You say you are independent, but everything you said to the press so far has only been good for BP.
Colin, the man built the boat, okay? We want to go trolling to make a living.
We finished. We out. We out of business.
First, there was no oil leaking. Then there was 1,000 barrels, and then it went up to 4,000, and on and on and on, till we're leaking actually 60,000 barrels a day. So people obviously know that they're lying. Either that or they're incredibly incompetent. And this loss of trust it kind of cascades down into the local community, gets into the social fabric. So people do not trust their mayor, they do not trust their neighbors, and then they do not even trust themselves.
Here, water is life, because a lot of people were born, finding their living through, what water could give, the bio. People are just hoping that there will be proper, handling of the case, and situations like this will not happen again, because the effects are, I think, is really lasting. It will take a long time, to recover from this situation, especially when it involves water, the seas.
The Cajuns have a well-known resilience, toughing out annual storms and their land sinking into the sea. However, an industrial catastrophe poses a very different threat.
It's very, very different, because with a storm, we know how to prepare, and we know what our expectations are, and our community is prepared to deal with the storm. With the oil spill, we really have no idea, and the biggest problem for me is that we don't know who to trust. Who do we trust to give us the right answer so that we can make a good decision for our family? My husband works in Fouchon, 7 and 7. He works 12-hour shifts 7 days a week, so he's even closer, and I think about that a lot, because it's so close to where everything is happening. It's even closer than we are.
And that worries you?
That worries me, and it worries me a lot for my children. I want him here for them, if we can be here.
But this isn't the first time a community dependent on the sea has faced a massive oil spill. For 20 years, Dr. Steve P. Cousteau studied the Alaskan communities impacted by the 1989 Exxon Valdez oil spill. It provides a troubling example for the Cajun people.
In Alaska, we observed increasing bankruptcies, increases in divorces, spikes in domestic violence, and a host of mental health problems. This also included suicides. Here on the Gulf Coast, we've had 2 suicides already that can be linked to the catastrophe. The thing about the Gulf Coast is that there's so many more communities and so many more people impacted.
2 days before the oil spill happened, he bought a boat and he was supposed to go back shipping, but then he couldn't because of the oil spill.
They own marinas on each side of Grand Isle.
At a local primary school, every child has a story about the spill. These children are facing a new era of ecological unknowns, the first generation to experience the collapse of a certainty.
For the first time this year, I've heard my husband say that, choke up, but that he may not be able to go back and do that in his lifetime. And that's hard to swallow. That is, he's been doing that since he's 9. And it's a livelihood, and that's all we've known, and we survive doing that. We love it.
People are losing not only their jobs for this first summer, but they're losing their way of life. This loss of way of life sounds very intangible, but really it is losing the meaning of life. And when people lose meaning, they lose just about everything they have.
What is the one thing that really rises to the surface as their greatest fear?
I think we're fearing the loss of our community, of us as a people, of our culture and the life that we've made here, because it could all be gone because of something that we have no control over, and we don't know if it's safe to live here. Is our water safe for us to drink and to live in? We're surrounded by water, so is it safe for us to be here?
A few days later, Scott called to say that the cleanup had been called off and he was home again. News crews are leaving, and the cleanup might be canceled, but the people of the Gulf, like Scott, feel that the worst may be yet to come.
Just too much oil, too fast, just all of a sudden, oh, everything's okay, because that's what they're trying to say. Hey, everybody go back fishing, it's all good. You know, it's too good to be true that would happen, and so I'm just thinking the worst is yet to come.
It tears me apart, baby. Because look, don't forget I made my living, and my daddy before me, my brothers. And now, what's gonna happen? Your guess is as good as mine.
The Cajuns are experiencing the slow motion catastrophe of environmental collapse. A shadow is cast in every plan for the future that maybe the gift of ecological security has been poisoned with an ocean of doubt.